Welcome to the April 4th, 2023 City of Minot Planning Commission meeting. Call the roll.
Bauman,
Present.
Domes, Bacon,
Here.
Gates,
Here.
Hogalter,
Here.
Iverson, here, Kibler,
Here.
Leiter,
Here.
Longton, Menham,
Here.
Nesdahl,
Here.
Offerdahl,
Here.
and Pontanilla.
Here.
Perfect. Got a quorum. Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, moving on to agenda item number 4 today for the approval of the March 7th, 2023 regular meeting minutes. Can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
All right, who made the motion over there? Is that Hochhalter? And second by
Menham.
Menham? Okay, call the roll. Or first of all, I'm sorry, any discussion? Any discussion on that? All right, we'll close discussion, call the roll.
Bauman,
Yes.
Bacon,
Yes.
Gates,
Yes.
Hogalter,
Yes.
Iverson,
Yes.
Kibler,
Yes.
Leiter,
Yes.
Menham,
Yes.
Nesdahl,
Yes.
Offerdahl,
Yes.
and Pontanilla.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, motion carries. Moving on to agenda item number 5, zoning map amendment, Senex 4th edition. Public hearing request by Shirley McLaughlin on behalf of SM Real Estate, owner for zoning map amendment from M1 Light Industrial District to CBD Central Business District. That will turn it over to staff for findings and reports.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Brian Billingsley, Community Development Director. First case for you this evening is zoning map amendment for Senex 4th edition. The property is commonly known as The Spot, located here in downtown Minot. This is their aerial view of the properties to be rezoned. They're both shown highlighted in white. That would be 11 3rd Street Northeast and 215 East Central Avenue. The 300-foot notification buffer is shown in pink, so all the properties within that area received a notice of this public hearing. We're invited to attend the meeting this evening. Just want to give some history on some of the rezones that have taken place in downtown Minot over the past year and 3 or 4 months. All the properties shown in green have been rezoned by the City Council since the beginning of 2022. Actually, we have another case coming to the Planning Commission next month. Shown in blue here, it's the Railroad Depot property that has M2 zoning. They're going to be requesting a rezone to CBD, just like the owner of the spot is this evening. This is the current zoning map for the neighborhood around the spot. As you can see, it was originally zoned for industrial purposes. M1, M2 zoning was predominant in this neighborhood in the past, but in recent years there have been several requests to rezone to Central Business District or C2 commercial. This request by the spot this evening is consistent with those other requests that we have seen over the past couple of years. Here's the future land use map. This is the map that is currently in use now, not the map that is in our draft comprehensive plan. The future land use map in our current plan has this neighborhood plan for industrial use. However, as you can see, we've already made some amendments with the rezones that would have taken place to Central Business District or commercial. I just want to let everyone know next month, when the new comprehensive plan map is adopted, this neighborhood will be set aside for what we call downtown fringe. And it's basically where we want to see more Central Business District type uses and commercial uses in the future. So here are the findings of fact for the case. Basically, it's currently zoned M1. We're The current comprehensive plan map calls for industrial, however, the new comp plan map will call for this area to be downtown mixed use. This area has a record of transitioning to down to central business district as well. So this request is in line with all the other rezones we've approved downtown over the past year. These are all the findings I recommend that the council adopt. And then the recommendation for the commission is that you adopt those findings of fact and recommend approval of the city council of the zoning map amendment from M1 light industrial district to CBD central business district. And we don't have any conditions on this one. So with that, I stand available for your questions.
Any questions for staff?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, if I could, just informational question, really. This move to CBD will make it contiguous with other CBD growing district downtown. But are there any benefits to the owners to be in compliance with the general sort of zoning around them? Why would they want to do this?
Chairman Offerdahl, Commissioner Kibler, the reason for this request is the owner is interested in applying for the city's facade improvement program to fix up the facade of the building. In order to qualify, the property owner has to be located in the central business district, which is the reason for the request. Plus, with the industrial zoning that's there now, it makes it very difficult for them to get refinancing because their use is not industrial, it's a pool hall. So, but although I do believe that the code allows indoor recreation, maybe as a conditional use, I don't have that in front of me right now, but usually a lot of the uses that are downtown today probably don't qualify under M1 or M2. So it's good for them to be in compliance with zoning.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Commissioner Baumann.
Just a general question. I'm kind of asking this more for just public information to educate those that might be watching at home. But generally speaking, M1 light industrial would involve some heavy trucks and maybe like some more industrial type traffic moving through downtown. And as a community, we're wanting to move away from having that in this particular portion of downtown Minot. Am I correct with that kind of vision and goal?
Chairman Offerdahl, Commissioner Baumann, that is correct, yes. That we would like to see the downtown expand, have more commercial uses in it. We have a lot of land already available for development in the industrial park area northeast of the city. So it'd be nice to see more of these properties change over to a central business district use in the future.
Great, and that could also keep some of our heavier traffic from those neighborhoods.
Keeps it on the outskirts of town rather than in the middle of our town.
Great. Then last thing, I'd just like to say thanks to staff and the property owner and everyone who it's great to see these projects kind of move in alignment with some of the opportunities that are available through the facade improvement program. It's very exciting to see that it's causing some changes and movement in the right direction. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Any further questions for staff? All right, seeing none, go ahead and open up the public hearing. Anybody in attendance wishes to speak on behalf of this agenda item? Anybody wish to speak against this agenda item? Anybody for or against this agenda item? Okay, seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. Turn it over to commissioners for a motion.
Move to approve based on staff recommendations and findings of fact.
I will second that.
Motion to approve by Vice Chair Baumann and seconded by Commissioner Nesdal. Oh, Iverson? I apologize. Okay, any discussion? No discussion? Seeing none, we'll call the roll.
Baumann,
Yes.
Bacon,
Yes.
Gates,
Yes.
Hogalter,
Yes.
Iverson,
Yes.
Kibler,
Yes.
Leider,
Yes.
Menum,
Yes.
Nesdal,
Yes.
Offerdahl,
Yes.
and Pontanila.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, motion carries. Moving on to agenda item number 6, zoning map amendment and preliminary plat, Ridgedale Industrial Park, second edition. Public hearing request by Eric Brethheim, owner of zoning map amendment from C2 General Commercial District to M1 Light Industrial District for Lot 2, Ridgedale Industrial Park, 2nd edition. The request also includes an annexation of the subject property and adjoining right-of-way. Purpose for this request is for an unspecified future light industrial development. That will turn it over to staff for findings and report.
Thank you. So this is the request for rezoning. The property is located at the end of the cul-de-sac, located at 45th Avenue Northeast. It's on the far northeast end of our city. In fact, the property currently is not in city limits. That red line you see running through there, our properties are located in city limits to the west and south of that line. As part of this request, the applicant is requesting rezoning so that they can hook up to city services. The rezoning will be handled by City Council. That's written in the Century Code. So this evening, we're really here tonight to address the rezoning request from C2 to M1. All the properties you'll see on the zoning map to the west and south of the site are already zoned M1. So this request to rezone to M1 is consistent with those properties to the west and to the south. To the north, the property to the north is a church. It is currently zoned C2. It is outside of city limits. And the properties to the east is a rural subdivision, has rural residential zoning, and it's currently in residential use or single-family dwellings on all of those lots. Just to let everyone know, the lot directly east of the subject site has about 3 acres of land on it, so it's a pretty big lot. And even if, when this property develops industrially, we still have in our code the requirement to put in landscape buffering and have setbacks as well. So there should be plenty of separation from that house. You can see the house up near the cul-de-sac bulb. There's plenty of separation there, but we will still have those requirements in place when they apply for a building permit to build the landscape buffering that's required. Our future land use map, this is the 2012 map, the current map we have now, not the map that's going to be adopted next month. It has this area planned for industrial use. I did check out the 2040 map that will be adopted next month, and this did not change. It's still planned for industrial use for the future. To the east, we do have very low-density residential for that subdivision to the east. And we even have an industrial for the church property. The 46th Avenue Northeast is the bypass area that runs out towards the industrial park. So here are the findings of fact for the case. The applicants have submitted the complete application. The property is currently zoned C2, and it's been that way. Actually, one thing to let the commission know is that the subject property was rezoned to C2 in 2000. We don't have a lot of records from 2000, but it was rezoned from M1 to C2 in 2000. And today they're requesting to change it back to M1. I think it makes more sense to have it M1 because it's on a dead-end road. You don't see too many commercial properties on the dead end of a cul-de-sac. Commercial properties want high-traffic locations, and I think this site makes more sense being zoned to M1 light industrial than it does C2 commercial. We did send this out to all the public agencies to get their comments. We do have some conditions from our engineering department. These are the conditions. They're usually standard for developing properties. They want a stormwater management plan. Easements are required. And then a site plan is required for development, and connection fees will have to be paid at the time that they apply for building permit. Again, we don't know what the plan is for this lot. But I would imagine it'll probably be put up for sale, and any use that's permitted in an M1 light industrial district would be permitted there. So staff recommends approval of the rezone from C2 to M1. I stand available for your questions.
Thank you. Any questions for the staff? Vice Chair Bauman.
So if I'm understanding you correctly, we're looking at the rezone today, but the city council will be talking about the idea of annexation and putting that into the city boundaries.
That is correct.
Okay. And just out of curiosity, what would be essentially, it looks like someone would have to develop that road from Second Street northeast all the way out to the cul-de-sac and then extend utilities out to that point as well?
Yes.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, annexation from whom to the city? From the extraterritorial district?
Yes, that is correct. They would be annexing into the city, so it would be, the parcel would be paying taxes to the city. They could hook up their services, sewer, water services to the future use of that site.
And it would make it contiguous?
Yes, it would.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you. Any other questions for city staff? All right, seeing none, we'll open the public hearing. Anybody in attendance wishes to speak on behalf of this agenda item? Anybody who wish to speak against this agenda item? Anyone for or against this agenda item? Okay. Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing, turn it over to the commissioner.
Mr. Chairman, real quick, wanted to let the commission know that Hannah Peterson, an engineer representing the client, is on Teams. She should be on Teams if she, I don't know, she may want to address the council through Teams.
Okay.
Yeah, like Brian said, my name is Hannah Peterson. I am with Lowry Engineering. I don't really have anything to add, but I am here if you guys have any questions.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Hannah? Okay, thank you, Hannah. All right, seeing no discussion from the public hearing, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing. Turn it over to commissioners for a motion.
Make a motion to approve based on staff recommendations and findings of facts.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Leiter,
I'll second.
second by Commissioner Holcoulter. Any discussion? Any discussion? No. Seeing none, we'll call the roll.
Bauman,
Yes.
Bacon,
Yes.
Gates,
Yes.
Hoggalter,
Yes.
Iverson,
Yes.
Kibler,
Yes.
Leiter,
Yes.
Minham,
Yes.
Dahl,
Yes.
Offerdahl,
Yes.
and Pontedila.
Yes.
The motion carries.
Motion carries. Okay, moving on to agenda item number 7. This is a conditional use permit, Livingston 7th edition. Public hearing request by Stephen Harrison on behalf of Doomlands Commercial Real Estate, representative for Metalarks Holding LLC, owner for a conditional use permit to construct and operate a truck stop in a C2 General Commercial District. The legal description for the property is Block 2, Livingston 7th Edition. I'll turn it over to staff for finding and report.
Thank you. This request is for a truck stop. It's a conditional use permit request, so there's no rezoning here, no annex. The property's already annexed into the city. The subject property is located in White. It's the southwest corner of Highway 252 and 13th Street Southeast. It's a vacant lot right now. There's a 300-foot buffer around the site since it's in city limits, and all the properties within that pink line receive notification. I also want to let you know that all the properties to the north on 20th Avenue, since they were really close, we also sent them a notification too, even though they were just outside of the boundary. This is the current zoning map for the property and the neighborhood around it. It's pretty much all zoned C2 commercial, the subject site and all the properties, mostly around it. To the southeast, there's a little bit of R3 and there's some R1 to the southeast, and the land down in the coulee behind the commercial subdivision is zoned for ag. Our future land use map, this is the 2012 map, the current map, and I did check it with the 2040 map that we'll be bringing to you next month. They're all the same here. Nothing has changed. It's pretty much, the whole neighborhood is pretty much planned for commercial use. So the request for a truck stop certainly it's a good spot for a truck stop. It's along the highway, and it's planned for commercial use. This is the site plan. It did change, so if you looked at the site plan in your staff report, we did receive a revised staff report from the applicant late Friday afternoon. They had a chance to look at the staff report, and make some adjustments to their site plan. So this is the site plan we're presenting today for the truck stop. There will be no access directly onto Highway 252. All the access would come off of either 13th Street Southeast or 21st Avenue Southeast. The access onto 13th, the applicant is proposing a write-in only access off of 13th, and then traffic exiting would all would come off of 21st Avenue Southeast. On the far east side of the subject site will be the pumps for the autofilling on the far east end. And then directly to the west of that is the filling station, the Holiday Superstore that's proposed there. And on the northwest corner of that is a car wash. If you see, there's some stacking of automobiles on the northeast corner of the site plan. That would be for the car wash. That's where those vehicles would stack and wait to enter the car wash if there was a backup. You go further to the west, there's the pumping stations for the trucks, the diesel pumping. And then even further to the west than that, of that is parking for 8 semis on the far west side. So as you look at the access that's proposed on 21st, it's in and out both on the far east side, but on the west side for the semis, it's you'll enter from one side and then loop around and exit from the other driveway entrance. Here are the renderings for the proposed store. Staff has reviewed the renderings and found that they are in compliance with our commercial building design standards. These are renderings for all 4 sides, the south, northeast, and west sides of that building, including the car wash. Here are the findings of fact. Let's see, we've got only 5 findings here on this page. We do have some standards in our land development ordinance for truck stops, and staff has reviewed those standards and found that they do meet the requirements, the site plan meets those requirements. We are recommending approval of this request. However, our engineering department has several conditions that they're recommending that the Planning Commission adopt. As a reminder to everyone, when we adopted the new land development ordinance in 2021, we gave the Planning Commission the authority to approve conditional use permits. So if this is approved tonight, it's a final decision. That decision is appealable, though, to the City Council. The applicant can appeal the decision, or any neighboring property owner, any interested party can also appeal the decision to City Council as well. So these are the conditions that staff is recommending. We're recommending that you approve the conditional use permit this evening with these conditions. The first condition is the development must generally comply with the site plan provided in Exhibit 2, and the site plan would be this amended site plan that I just showed right here. So we're going to recommend that they generally follow this. But I want to go into a little more detail here on the other conditions so it all makes sense. Number 2 is stormwater management plan. We require that for all new developments, and also a site plan as well. Number 4, we're requiring a pedestrian connection from the site to the existing shared use pathway along 13th Street Southeast. And we're not requiring sidewalks in 21st Avenue. So I'm going to go back to the site plan here. And the shared use path is that thick black line west of the road, and we're going to require a pedestrian path, sidewalk connect to the gas station to that pathway. And there is currently a sidewalk on the south side of 21st, and engineering is here to explain why a sidewalk is not needed on the north side. The next condition, number 5, is a traffic impact study is required for future development and shall be reviewed and approved by the city and NDDOT. So we're going to require the developer to do a traffic study like we do with all major developments that generate a lot of traffic, like a truck stop. And then any required improvements as a result of this study, the developer will have to pay for those improvements. And we'll put that in a development agreement that the city council will have to approve with the developer. Engineering department is recommending 2 amendments to number 6 and number 7. They're proposing a complete rewording of condition number 6 from what you saw in your staff report. We're recommending, in your motion, please, we're recommending that you please, acknowledge these 2 amendments. The first one being the potential for a controlled access right-in on 13th Street Southeast will be evaluated as part of the traffic impact study, and any access will have to be approved by the city and NDDOT. And condition number 7, we've added some language there. It reads, access onto 21st Avenue Southeast shall meet spacing requirements for collector roadways per the city's transportation plan to the extent feasible as approved by the city engineer. Number 8, the payment of sewer connection fees, which we require in all new developments. Number 9 is an approved traffic impact study must be possessed by the city of Minot prior to a building permit issuance. Building permit may be issued prior to the completion of the improvements if stemming from the results of the improved traffic impact study. However, no certificate of occupancy may be issued until the necessary improvements, if any, are completed to the satisfaction of the city of Minot and the North Dakota Department of Transportation. And then number 10 is site grading and preparation activities may occur upon approval of the stormwater management plan and prior to the building permit issuance. So those are the 10 conditions that we're recommending. We're recommending approval of this request with those conditions. And Emily Hiddle from engineering is here if you have any really detailed questions from engineering. If not, I'll stand available for your questions.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for the staff?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I just, we've got these terms we hear a lot, like the site plan and the stormwater management plan, but here we're talking about a site that will have diesel, gasoline on it. So the groups who regulate that, what do they look for specifically in a site plan? I assume site plans and stormwater management plans would be different for a structure that's got gasoline and diesel on it. What kind of stuff is part of their examination and approval process?
I can let Emily go into further detail, but basically the site plan would spell out all the improvements that are going to take place on the property, including the location of infrastructure like sewer and water lines, even going to the detail of like fire hydrant locations and things like that. But Emily's walking up here. I'll let her take it from here.
Hi, good evening, Commissioners, Chairman Alfredal. Mr. Kibler, the site plan and the things that the city reviews are basically the same on this site as they are with other sites. I think probably the items that you're referring to more specific to a gas station and fuel tanks, that's under state jurisdiction, Department of Environmental Quality, I believe, is likely who they permit things through. Our fire department is also involved in the review process with us and our building department on things. So they may have a few things they look at, but the majority of those type of environmental concerns are handled at the state level.
And those state level concerns, those aren't zoning concerns, are those permitting concerns? That you permit them to have gas and diesel on the site based on the site plan and the approvals of stuff, or is it a permanent certification or approval?
I don't know the details of what goes into that, but I think it varies. Requirements vary depending on the amount of fuel storage, and there's different requirements for different safety features and things like that are reviewed by others.
Yeah, thank you.
Not us.
Any other questions for city staff, either Brian or Emily? Vice Chair Bauman?
This is a Mr. Billingsley question. Questions?
That was plural.
Sorry, Brian. Can you talk me and all of us through a little bit about landscaping requirements for a C2 project like this? What are we going to be seeing on the site? Chairman
Offerdahl, Commissioner Bauman, landscaping would obviously have to take place here. It's a new commercial development. Chances are, since it is there's streets on 3 sides of the site, we'll probably have to have landscaping on those 3 streets for sure. We'll have to have the foundation plantings in front of the buildings, of course. But we'll work with the applicant on that to make sure they're placed in segments that would not interfere with the vision triangle, to make sure it's done safely and done correctly. But yeah, there's also some islands in here too, in the park. I can see like north of where the semis are going to park, there could be a space there where some landscaping can be put in. So yeah, we'll work with the applicant on that. They'll submit their landscaping plan to us when they apply for a building permit.
Okay. And then kind of a similarly related question, the car wash stacking lane. Just thinking about traffic moving eastbound and cars facing westbound in the stacking lane. Do we have any concerns or worries about, lights coming into oncoming traffic from that direction or from both directions, essentially? Or will that be changed by the angle or whatever?
So you're talking the cars that are pulling up to that area and then turning over to going into the stacking space, correct?
Yep. So while they're sitting in the stacking
yeah,
space, I'm assuming their lights are going to be on.
Yeah, they're going to be, the cars are going to be facing, there's a trash dumpster location that they're going to be facing.
Okay.
And that directly to the west. You can see that's a trash dumpster enclosure. Okay.
Cool. Next question is about light impact. Knowing that there are some R1 homes and properties to the southeast. Do we have any sort of idea of the impact of putting another business there? I know there's a few others there, but gas stations tend to be a little bit brighter, a little more 24/7. I'd just love to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah, Chairman Offerall and Commissioner Baumann, yeah, we do have the downward facing lighting requirement in our new land development ordinance, and that would apply for truck stops too.
Great.
Okay.
Glad to hear it. And then this is an Assistant Engineer Hiddle question about the sidewalks on the north side of 21st, and is that something that's uniformly applied to all the properties on the north side of 21st Ave? Or if you could just explain for us and the public a little bit about that.
Yes, Chairman Offerall, Commissioner Baumann, we, in this area, when the roadway was developed, I want to say in 2012-ish, don't hold me to that date, this project was constructed and sidewalk was put in along the entirety of the south side. And since that time, all the properties that have developed on the north side don't have sidewalk. Wasn't part of the decision at that time, but that's how this area is, so that's what we've stuck with. We felt it was probably most important to just make sure there's a connection to that shared use path, because that's where the majority of anyone would be coming from.
Great. And then one more question for you while you're here, and then I'll be done, I promise. Will the traffic study also take into account bike and pedestrian traffic on that shared use path? Just thinking about, are we going to have a biker get hit by a semi, or will that be factored into all of that cross traffic?
That is an excellent question. They follow the traffic impact study requirements by the North Dakota DOT. And I don't know every detail of those. Stefan would know more, but I will certainly make note of reviewing that when we get that first draft. We're expecting it a couple weeks from now to make sure that we're addressing that if it's not.
Thanks.
Mr. Chairman, I do have one more question. I'm not sure for whom, but it looked on the map as if there are no R1 single-family structures in that sort of designated area. So no one from an R1 area was notified about this change, or are they that far away from it that it's not a legal concern?
Mr. Chairman, Commissioner Kibler, the pink line is a 300-foot buffer, so the properties that are R1 are outside of that buffer, so yeah, they did not get a notification. They look like they're at least 400 plus feet away from the site.
Any other questions? Commissioner Fagan.
So 13th, if you've been on that intersection, is there a future plan for streetlights with this? Because if you've been to that intersection, it's uphill. Is there going to be an issue with semis coming out of that station, turning left, going towards 2, with the people that live to the south and all that? I mean, I can see a stoplight in the future, I'm assuming.
Commissioner Offerdall, Chairman Fagan, you're talking about a traffic signal at 21st. That would be pretty unlikely because of the spacing. They wouldn't work that close together. But I mean, that's why we have the condition of the traffic study, which is a requirement of the City of Minot and of the North Dakota Department of Transportation. They'll be reviewing it and approving it as well. So, we're aware that traffic in the area is already pretty congested in the morning peak times. Several of us drive through there every day, so we're well aware of it. And that's the sort of things that we'll be looking at in the traffic study and seeing what would be any proposed solutions to alleviate any impacts.
Thank you.
Any further questions for city staff? Any further questions?
Mr. Chairman, I believe there may be a representative from the applicant's team on Teams. You may want to check with them during the public hearing.
Okay, thank
Thank
you.
you.
So no further questions for city staff. We'll go ahead and open up the public hearing. Is there anybody in attendance that wishes to speak on behalf of this agenda item? Anybody wish to
My
speak?
name is Jim Gepner. I'm the development manager for Holiday, and joining us this evening is Steve Harrison, who is our civil engineer, and Mark Stinson, who is the director of real estate for Holiday. And we just appreciate the opportunity to be considered for this site development. We're excited about the opportunity. Our other location in town has been supported well by the community, and we look forward to providing more services to the community in this area. And we feel it'll be an excellent opportunity for us to provide the holiday products that people know. Godfather's Pizza will also be included here in the car wash. And so we're very excited and look forward to working with you on this opportunity. Steve, do you have anything to share?
I don't, but I could answer any questions that anybody may have regarding engineering or the site development plans.
Any questions for Steve or Jim? Okay, hold that thought. If we got something that come up, we'll call back on you guys. We appreciate it.
You bet. Thank you.
Is there anybody else that wishes to speak on behalf of this agenda item? Anybody wish to speak in opposition of this agenda item? Okay. Anybody wish to speak against or for this agenda item? Okay.
I have a question for staff, but I'm not sure when the right time to.
We can do that on the end after the public hearing, as long as it's for not Jim or Stephen on the public hearing part. Anybody else have any questions on either for or against this agenda item, public hearing? Okay, with that, we're going to close the public hearing, and we'll turn it over to the commissioners for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve based on findings of facts and staff recommendations, including at additional request on number 6 and 7.
Okay, so you want to include all 10 conditions, especially 6 and 7?
Yeah, the extended changes.
Okay.
I will
Motion.
second that.
Okay, was that you? Okay, so a motion to approve by Commissioner Holkalter and second by Commissioner Iverson. Okay, now we got time for any discussion.
I have a question for staff, and sorry I didn't think of this sooner, but I was just looking at Google Maps.
do we have any way to prevent a semi from getting into the truck stop, filling up, hanging a right on 21st, and then going through the residential neighborhood to Home Depot and or Menards? Just trying to be devil's advocate and thinking, we don't want that to be happening. However, that is going to be the series of least amount of traffic stops if we're not careful. So do we have any way of putting something into this that triggers that?
Like a curbing to keep them from going, yeah, there's no way to connect. It's like two separate sites. The site on the east half is going to be the filling station and the automotive pumps. The site on the west is going to be for the semis and the diesel pumps. And there's no way that you can drive your car from one site to the other.
And I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about a semi hanging a right on 21st to then go through a residential neighborhood to get to Menards and Home Depot, because they wouldn't have to wait for traffic to make a left-hand turn on 13th.
Okay.
Is that something that the traffic study would catch?
Just trying to think it through. I mean, there could be some trucks that might take a right, and then I think they would get to 6th Street and take a right just to get back out on the highway to head east. I don't know that there would be a very large number that would be sneaking through that back way. Though I do know there is some truck traffic back in that area, and we do visit with residents on some of those streets back there. There's not necessarily a way to stop it, but the traffic impact study will look, and they do some analysis and draw some conclusions as to what percentage of traffic they think will go right or go left at every location. So that would be something that we would be able to look at. And it's an estimation, an assumption. We can't completely predict what someone might do.
Mr. Chairman, perhaps a related question. The traffic study, is it a study with any teeth? Does it make recommendations that matter, that need to be abided by ultimately?
Yes, absolutely. That actually is condition number, I don't remember which condition, but it says that whatever is in the study is something that they would have to do, and they would have to be in a developer's agreement approved by City Council. Condition number 5 that you guys approved. So, whether the traffic impact study says that to mitigate concerns, we need additional turn lanes, or we need to change signal timing, or, a variety of different things that it could potentially be. And those would all be things that would need to be done at the developer's cost because of the impacts of their development.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? So currently, we got a motion to approve and a second. Any other discussion? Okay, we'll call the roll.
Bauman,
Yes.
Bacon,
Yes.
Gates,
Yes.
Hoggalter,
Yes.
Iverson,
Yes.
Kibler,
Tenuous yes.
Leider,
Yes.
Minham,
Yes.
Nesdal,
Yes.
Offerdahl,
Yes.
and Pontanila.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Motion carries. Moving on to agenda item number 8, other business.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, I have 2 things I'd like to talk about real quick. Number 1, I'd like to welcome Nick Schmitz, the Assistant City Attorney. He's sitting in the back of the room. He's going to be taking over the duties that are of the providing legal advice to the Planning Commission. So I'd like to welcome Nick to the group. And then the second thing is I want to let everyone know that our next meeting will be held at the new City Hall downtown on May 2nd. So if you come down here and the door's locked, to go down to Main Street there. So hope to see everybody there.
Thank you, and welcome, Nick.
Can we
Go ahead,
Can we hear a
Commissioner.
little bit from Nick or whoever's
Sure.
from?
Chairman Offerall, Commissioners, it's a pleasure to be here. It's going to be good to be involved in this process. So if anyone has any questions, feel free to ask.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Any questions for,
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, does that mean you're going to be with us every meeting? Or just a shadow resource for us when we need some legal?
I should be primarily the primary attorney attending meetings, taking over for Attorney Solheim.
perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
And Brian, the City Hall, they got a layout or a map that you guys can provide for where people walk in or park? Or I know there's still some construction, so we want to make sure we're in the right area.
Don't know about the parking yet. There is a parking ramp right next door.
Okay.
So you're welcome to, that'll be open. You can use the parking ramp next door. If you enter from the south side of the building, the council chambers are directly on your right-hand side.
Okay.
So if you enter from the south, if you enter from the north side, you have to go up the stairs or the elevator to the middle floor. But if you enter from the south side, it's right there. You could just go a short distance and then it's on the right.
Okay,
Okay?
very excited. All right, any other business to discuss? Okay, with that, meeting adjourned.